guys, welcome back to Move Plus. With the warm-up guys, we're going to start off with 1 minute of cardio of your choice. We're going to go with plate hops. So with this one, just going side to side over the top of the plate there. So kind of a jumping kind of style on that one. We're then going to move from there into the next 4 minutes where we'll go through 10 groiners. So basically switching that long lunge position with the hands on the ground. 10 of those then goes into 10 air squats. So just our normal run-of-the-mill squat movement there, and then going into 10 alternating reverse lunges. So knee to ground, keeping the posture nice and tall. Good to go, Em? Yep. So starting in 10 seconds, remember 1 minute of cardio. You guys can pick what you want to do there. If you want to do the same thing as us, that's cool. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So this is going to be very light on the balls of the feet, guys. This is almost going to mimic sort of the same feeling as skipping or double unders, that sort of thing. We're going to feel like we are kind of hopping and keeping on the move the whole time. It's not like a regular kind of step over where we are heel down and moving slowly through it. This one's very fast, very non-stop. And you'll notice that Em's going to kind of keep her center of gravity or a center of her mass right over the top of the plate, and it's really just the legs that are going to reach side to side. And so we get the heart rate up, but also get the legs nice and warmed up too. Remember, once we clear this first minute, we've got the next 4 minutes where we're going to see 10 groiners, 10 air squats, 10 reverse lunges on repeat for those 4 minutes. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1, so moving to the groiners now, so 10 reps. And this one doesn't necessarily need to be fast, guys. This is more of a mobility drill rather than a heart rate drill, so actually better to take your time with it, try and drive those hips through as far as you can, and flare the knee out to the side. So that one that's up front, so this is going to be her right leg now, just pushing that knee out, trying to open up the hips. Once she gets to 10, she's going to go into 10 air squats. All right, so from there, feet are about shoulder width on the air squat, guys. We're going to see the knees kind of flare out to go pointing the same direction as the toes. This is what we call tracking the knees over the toes. And just nice tall posture. You'll see a little bit of hip hinge, but for the most part, we're going to stay pretty well upright. Once we get through 10 of these, we're going to go to the alternating reverse lunge for 10. Okay, so similar sort of deal with the posture, guys. Looking for a nice upright position, so try not to ever relax or slouch the body down. You want to keep your head and chest up, pointed straight ahead. And looking for a nice long step. Okay, we want to try and create some space. Try to get your leading foot's knee stacked over the ankle. So if you find that that knee is well forward, like over the toes, we don't want to be in that position. We want to reach back, create that position that we're after. So back onto the groiners again. You might find that as we go through this round by round, you're starting to get a little bit more range of motion open up, so you can sort of lengthen that lunge out a bit more, drive the knee out a little bit further, that sort of thing. Now, really important when we're doing the squats, guys, you want to keep those heels on the ground. You don't want to feel like you're rolling up to your toes. So 90 seconds left. See that Em's keeping her feet kind of, each foot's got its own individual line it's going to work on, so kind of like some really narrow train tracks. What we don't want to do is imagine we're on just one singular line, like we're on a tightrope, because that will make it a little harder to balance. Okay, into the last minute now. Okay, back into the 10 air squats. Okay, final 20 seconds. Let's see if we can get into some lunges as well. So light touch of the knee on the ground, guys. You don't want to clunk it into the floor, but you do want to contact just to make sure you get that full range of motion. 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, that is the warm-up done, guys. Have a little bit of rest, get some water in, have a bit of a move around. We're gonna check out move next. Alrighty guys, we're gonna check out the move section now. So this one is going to be 3 sets of the following. We have 1 minute of cardio choice. You can decide what you wanna do there. We're gonna go with box jumps. So just nice straightforward box jumps on that one, nice and simple. From there, 1 minute of burpees. So come down chest to ground, popping up to the jump. We then go into 1 minute of air squats. And then the last minute is going to be a rest minute. So you will get some recovery time in there, which means that when we're on the clock for those first 3 movements, you've got to really push it and then save for the rest for when we have that actual rest round. So 3 sets through on that one. You good to go? Yep. Starting in 10. So you guys can decide what you want to do with that cardio round. Be creative. If you want to mix it up a little bit, do so. That's cool. And go for it. So main thing with it, guys, we want something on the simpler side, probably lighter, more high rep, something you can move for a minute straight. We don't want anything that's gonna kind of hold you up and stop you in your tracks. Notice we've gone for a fairly low box, as opposed to if we put like a big 30-inch box out there, that would probably slow Emily down. Well, probably wouldn't slow Emily down, but most people would slow them down. So we want something that is gonna be just nice and continuous as you move through it. But feel free to kind of tweak that around, play around with some different options with that one. 30 more seconds on this, then we're gonna move to the burpees next. Now, if you are doing a box jump like Emily's, guys, notice that she's catching nice and high, so she's above a squat position, the knees are nice and open, and she's getting the entire foot or both feet to land completely on the box, so there's no heel overhang on that. 10 more seconds. Okay, getting ready for the next one. 3, 2, 1, and going for burpees. So this is a real nice old school movement, guys. It's very simple. We just got to get chest fully flat to ground, and we've got to jump and a hand contact overhead at the top. So it does not need to be a strict push-up. You can save your arms. You can actually get a lot more reps out that way by just kind of rolling through. So the torso is kind of semi-active, just kind of controlling that roll down, and then we press back up the same way. So it'll be kind of like we're peeling off the ground rather than a rigid, straight body position as we push off. At the top, don't have to jump high, but we do want to see nice open hips, and we do want to see you leave the ground to some degree with the hands touching either above or behind the head. Ten more seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So with the air squats, guys, we want to, looking from sort of the bottom upwards here, we want to see the feet nice and flat. So that means the heels completely planted. We've got the outside ridge of the foot pressured down. Sometimes we'll see people kind of collapse to the inside arch or the heels lifting off. Try to push outwards and push back on those heels. What that's going to do is start to engage some musculature around the hip there that's going to keep the knees swung open. So you can see as Em squats, she's tracking the knees nice and wide so they're lined up with the toes. That's going to allow her pelvis to sit into a really deep position in a nice, strong, sort of leveled position there. It's not going to feel like it's getting rolled back and kind of dumping into that low back. So looking for that range of motion where the hips are below the height of the knee, it's nice and deep. And resting. All right, so our 4th minute is our rest round, guys. So this is your opportunity. Have a little bit of a walk around, get some water in, and then we're going to look at the second set in a moment. Okay, 20 seconds. So remember, we'll be circling back around to that cardio minute. Think things like jumping jacks, skipping, running on the spot, any of those things that are nice and simple are just going to jack the heart rate up. Okay, going in 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So second cycle underway. Notice the use of the arms with this, right? This is primarily a leg-based movement, guys, but we want to see the whole body get engaged for this one. So arms are going to swing just as she goes to take off. That's going to shift the momentum. It's also going to help keep her posture up nice and tall, as opposed to her kind of jumping and kind of slouching down, dropping that chest down, just keeping that posture tall. That's going to add to that nice high catch we spoke about last round. The most important thing with this, guys, safety-wise, is always keeping a check on that you are clearing the box easily, right? If you feel like you're just barely scraping in, that fatigue's starting to creep in, we don't ever want you to trip the feet, hit the shins on the box. So if you need to adjust, maybe if you're using steps or something at home, go for a lower step, but just make sure keeping that safety in mind. Okay, last couple of reps. 3, 2, 1, and moving to burpees. So you can play around with a different stance option with this, guys. Emily's fairly flexible, so she's going to keep the stance pretty narrow, but if she had really tight hamstrings, she might actually splay the feet a little wide as she comes up. You can see that she kind of went outside of shoulder width. What that does is that just gives her a bit more freedom to get the hips higher. So that, as opposed to her having to tuck into a ball and go into more of like a squat position at the bottom, she's bringing those hips up high and kind of pulling the toes towards the wrists. And that way, all she's got to do is just open that hinge position and stand and jump at the top. 20 more seconds. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, and going for air squats. Now, an interesting thing I want you guys to take note of as Em's going through these squats is the arms, right? Again, this is a leg-based movement, but we're going to see the whole body play a part in this. So her arms are going to swing up as she comes down into the squat. That's not just kind of incidental. We're doing that deliberately, right? As she comes down and those arms swing up, that's going to help kind of counteract and help us to kind of bounce out of the bottom. So it's going to be a shift of momentum that will help stand us up. It's also going to encourage her upper body, and especially her thoracic, so this kind of region here, to keep up really tall. If she's got her arms down, the likelihood of her head and chest kind of coming down with it and getting into poor position is pretty high. Whereas with this arm swing, it's going to keep her nice and tall. She gets that nice little bounce out of the bottom of it. 10 more seconds till the rest. 3, 2, 1, and resting. All right, so another minute's break, guys. Have another sip of water, stretch anything that's a little bit tight or matted down, and we get through one more set. So 30 more seconds. We're going to circle back around to that cardio of choice. Ten seconds. All right, ready and go for it. So last set through, guys. This is the home stretch. So you want to push this one nice and hard. Remember, this particular minute is all about jacking the heart rate up. It's not to say the other 2 minutes aren't going to do that, but this one does need to be nice and basic, nice and continuous. So if you've picked something really heavy or really technical where you're only doing 1 or 2 reps at a time, probably sub that out for something a little bit more basic. The box jump's perfect for that. It's going to be a nice explosive movement. It's high cycle rate. So Em's heart rate's going to climb and climb and climb as we do this. And you can see as well that she's got this nice pattern of as soon as her second foot hits the ground, she's already in rebound. So she's not going to come off and stop there and reset. She's actually almost doing this as a rebound box jump. And that keeps that cycle rate nice and fast. 10 seconds. Three, two, one, and go for it. So we're back on these burpees. Again, we're going to see that nice controlled roll down versus a push-up motion. We will still see a very similar arm position though from a push-up. So it's going to be quite narrow. The arms are going to kind of just graze past the rib cage there. So it's quite close. With the top part of it, guys, if you have sort of a lack of awareness of like, am I upright yet? Can I be as tall as I can be? Use a door frame, or if you've got a low beam in the house, something like that. Something as a touch mark, you can jump and touch. That way you're guaranteed the exact same range of motion every time. These can be scaled by doing an elevated front end. So set up next to the edge of your couch, hands on the edge of the couch, do a push up to there, jump the feet in and jump up. That can be a good way to kind of move into this if you're a little bit newer to it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and air squats. So this is the last one, guys. This is where we're going to really push the tempo. Now the importance of mobility with a squat, guys, you can see that because Emily's got good ankles, knees, hips, everything's nice and fluent there. She's able to use the stretch reflex, which is that nice controlled little bounce motion out of the bottom. If she was really stiff and she was only just kind of getting to halfway there and kind of having to, she's gonna have to grind out of it, muscle out of it, whereas we can use that actual rebound motion to help bring us up out of it. Good, so she's still keeping that posture and that head tall, arms are still swinging up, still got the heels on the ground. She's got 15 more seconds, and then we are finished with this part. Three, two, one, and done. All right, that is the move section done, guys. Have a bit of a chill. We've got a finisher coming up next. All right, guys, it is time for the finisher now. So what we're going to be looking at doing is a little bit of arm work. We're going to work on a time format of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and that is going to be done on 2 movements for a total of 5 minutes. So the first 20-second block is hammer curls. So looking like this. We have a 10-second rest, then we go into 20 seconds of a seesaw upright row. So that is going to be one arm, then the other arm, just alternating back and forth for that 20-second block. And as I said, we'll do this for a total of 5 minutes. Good to go? All right, starting in 10. So with this one, guys, you can put the dumbbells down on those breaks. Obviously, it's not a lot of time, so sometimes it's good to hold on them for a little bit and go for it. So hammer curls up first. Both of these movements are going to be strict, guys, which means we want to keep just a nice controlled tempo, and there should be no rocking or moving with the body. It is just the arms doing the work. And resting. Okay, so quick little bit of a shake off. We have a 10-second break here. Then we're going to go into that seesaw upright row. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So looking for straight arms at the bottom, guys. At the top, we're trying to get the handle of the dumbbell to match up with your collarbone. That's kind of our top mark we want to get to. And it's just alternating one arm at a time. Again, nice and strict, so no pivoting from the hips or anything like that. And resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So with the hammer curls, guys, the kind of the defining feature of this one as opposed to like a regular bicep curl is where the palms are facing. So we're actually keeping the palms facing inwards, going from pockets up to about shoulders. If you find yourself drifting a long way over the top, you're probably going a little too high. So just make sure you're keeping those elbows stuck by your side. Resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So looking at shoulders, traps, rear shoulder with this one, a little bit of biceps as well, a little bit of grip and forearms with this one. the alternating motion with the dumbbells is going to mean we're going to have to kind of stabilize through that midsection because the body will want to kind of shift back and forth. And resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So this one is much more isolated into just that bicep muscle there. So you will find that your kind of the rear shoulders will stabilize to keep the shoulders in place, but the main driver here is going to be the bicep. And resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So you might find if you've been counting your reps, guys, in the earlier rounds, you'll start to find that you kind of find a number that you can fit in consistently in these 20-second blocks, and that can keep you on track for a little bit of a goal to stay consistent rather than not counting and just kind of going whatever you can fit in. And resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So we've got 2 more minutes of this. And keep working through the curls and the upright rows. Make sure we're staying sort of below that shoulder height. You can see as soon as I go above that, those elbows creep forward. As soon as I get to that position, that bicep's going to kind of tension off because it's not actually having to hold the hand in place. And resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So notice at the top of that pull, just keeping her elbow above the height of the handle. That's going to be really important. We don't want to kind of pull into this sort of half tucked kind of a position. And resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So keep checking in, guys, in these later rounds as that fatigue starting to kick in, that you're not swinging or bucking the hips or anything like that. You want to make sure it's just the biceps and the forearms kind of squeezing the dumbbells. That's where we should feel the work happening. And resting. Three, two, one, and go for it. So last round on this one. You can see that nice high elbow position I was talking about before. Keeping the shoulder blades retracted the whole time. And time. All right, that is the finisher done, guys. Have a bit of a chill. We've got some stretches coming up next. Okay, guys, we're going to finish off with a little bit of mobility work now after we've done all the hard stuff. We'll look at just loosening things up a little bit. So the first drill we're going to do is a lying glute stretch. So we're going to basically cross one foot over the top of the thigh of the other leg, and then we're going to reach through and grab onto that bottom leg there. So we'll do this one for 45 seconds on each side. And just hanging out there, you can see Em's let her head and shoulders relax back to the ground. That's going to help kind of draw back on that stretch. Now, if you're really, really tight through the hips, you might find that even just having the foot on the ground with the leg just crossed over might be enough of a stretch for you. So work with what's going to be kind of appropriate for you. But if you can, get the hands either under the hamstring or even around the front of the knee, if you can grab even further, and just drawing back on that. So her left leg right now is the one we're looking to stretch. See, she's adding a little bit of spice to that by kind of pushing down on the knee whilst drawing back on the other side there, so adding a little bit more rotation. And switching. So this is going to be a really good one if you've done a lot of deadlifting, squatting, cleans, lunges, anything where we've got a lot of action going on through the hip. This is just going to help keep that nice and healthy and moving nice and fluently. It's also going to help with squat depth as well. If you find that you're someone who tends to kind of fall in at the knees there, you find it hard to get those knees out and create space through your hip joints, this one's going to be really nice to get that externally rotated position going. Ten more seconds. so that is drill 1. The second one we're going to do is a little bit more for the front of the body, so your abdominals, your obliques, that sort of thing. So we're going to go to an up dog position like this, and we're going to rotate right and left. So we will go for 1 minute on this one. So elbows are locked out, and she's basically just going kind of shoulders right to left. So in the middle position there, it's going to obviously run right down through like our six-pack muscles. As we rotate off to the side, it's going to drift more to the obliques there. So that musculature that's going to run under the ribs down to the hip bone. And just nice big breaths along the way. Try to think about like expanding the abdomen, breathing into the belly. And if you find that this is particularly like a little bit too much pressure on your low back, you feel like you're getting kind of pulled back too far, you can just go onto the forearms and do the same kind of thing. So just down low with that, and then doing the same kind of rotation back and forth. Last 10 seconds. And time. All right, so if you've got time, guys, let's see those 2 stretches maybe done 3 or 4 times each, couple of minutes per hold. Spend some time getting nice and loose. Otherwise, we will catch you next time. And that's been your MOV+ workout.